Welcome to this essential session. Today, we're really diving into something crucial for every film director, where true performances get hammered out under pressure.
The real world of filmmaking.
Exactly. Our focus today is very specific. It's about equipping you, the director, with the most fundamental, the most primal tools you need.
Tools to ignite authentic power in your actors.
Yes, authentic, powerful performances, even when you're up against the clock, when chaos is just the baseline on set.
Which it often is.
It so often is.
Yeah.
So this session is about stripping the work down to its absolute core essentials. We're talking objective, obstacle, and substitution.
The spine.
The spine. Unlocking that deep survival instinct in the actor. So what we want to provide here is a focused, really authoritative lesson, something you can take and apply directly to the raw realities of your craft.
Absolutely. Let's start by addressing a common misconception.
Mm-hmm.
There's this pervasive fantasy, isn't there? Often comes from film school, maybe idealized scenarios.
Dream set.
The dream set, exactly. Quiet, spacious studios, weeks and weeks of detailed rehearsal, calm, leisurely table reads where you can dissect every tiny beat over, days.
Sounds nice.
It sounds lovely. But let me be absolutely clear, speaking directly to you, the director, that is largely a fantasy. Those idyllic conditions, they are not the consistent reality you will face out there.
It's important to just accept that up front, isn't it?
It's fundamental. The inherent truth of a film set is pressure. Constant, unyielding pressure. Often it really does border on chaos.
Right.
You will operate under severely compressed timelines. You'll face intense, unexpected challenges, things you couldn't possibly plan for, and you'll be navigating logistical hurdles constantly.
Can you give some concrete examples, stuff directors listening right now might recognize?
Oh, absolutely. Think about this. You have a crucial scene, maybe the emotional climax, and you've got 20 minutes. 20 minutes with an actor who's never taken a class, who just wants to, quote, feel it out.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Or maybe you're in a less than ideal audition room, dimly lit, distractions everywhere. Maybe the casting assistant is clearly multitasking, checking their phone. The actor feels unseen, unheard before they even start.
Creates a terrible energy.
A terrible energy. Or, and this is far too common, your lead actor arrives late. Completely disengaged. Maybe they're exhausted from a long shoot. Maybe something happened off set. And it's for a pivotal one-day shoot that, frankly, carries the weight of the entire production.
Stakes couldn't be higher.
Exactly. So understand this. Really internalize it. These challenging circumstances, they aren't the exception. They are the job. They are the fabric of your daily reality as a director.
Okay, so if that's the reality, the storm, as you call it,
Mm-hmm.
where does the technique fit in? How does it help you in that storm, not just despite it?
That's the critical point. It's precisely within this storm, within these high-stakes, time-sensitive environments, that the Chubbuck technique reveals its true essential power. It's almost brutal effectiveness.
So it's not just for ideal conditions.
Not at all. It doesn't just help you survive these conditions. It actually becomes more essential, more primal under pressure. When you are racing against that clock, when stress is high, when your actors might be untrained or distracted or just completely burned out.
You don't have certain luxuries.
You have zero luxuries. You don't possess the luxury of endless overthinking. You don't have time for laborious, drawn-out rehearsals, detailed backstory discussions, none of it.
So what do you need?
What you need, what becomes absolutely paramount, is a method that doesn't require extensive polishing to shine. You need a tool that is incisive, like a surgeon's scalpel, something that cuts through the chaos to carve out profound emotional truth before those precious minutes just evaporate.
A scalpel, not a paintbrush.
Precisely. This technique thrives in that crucible. It wasn't designed in an ivory tower for a perfect theoretical world, no. It was forged for the war zones you inevitably encounter on set.
Whether those are emotional wars, logistical wars.
Or more often a relentless combination of both. It's engineered, specifically engineered to create immediate emotional architecture. Architecture that is rapid, raw, and undeniably honest. It's built for the now.
What you're describing, this constant battle against time and chaos, it sounds like it requires a really fundamental shift in how we approach working with actors. How does the technique, under that kind of intense pressure, manage to activate something so quickly? It feels like you're aiming for a response that's almost beyond conscious thought, something deeper, more instinctual.
You're absolutely right. That is precisely the core of it. When time is short, when every single moment is precious, this technique works by triggering the actor's deepest survival instinct.
Survival instinct.
Yes. And this is where the profound shift happens, and it's truly transformative to witness. Actors stop acting in that conventional performative sense. They begin to truly fight to win.
Fighting to win, not just playing the scene.
Exactly. They stop performing the emotion and they start actively pursuing their objective with the force of survival behind it. They begin, in a very real sense, reliving their own unresolved battles, their own personal stakes, but through the skin, through the circumstances of the character.
And that's not intellectual.
Not in the slightest. It's profoundly, undeniably visceral. It bypasses the analytical brain and goes straight to the gut, to the instinct.
So as a director, in that high-pressure moment, what you need is a system.
You desperately need a system that can activate an actor's primal hunger to win in mere seconds. Not hours of discussion, not intricate scene analysis you simply don't have time for. Seconds.
And when that switch flips.
When that switch flips. When the stakes become intensely personal for the actor. When the character's need feels utterly non-negotiable, like breathing. Then you have something truly alive on your hands, something electric.
And the technique becomes your tool for flipping that switch.
In those critical moments, it's not just a useful tool, it transforms into your ultimate weapon. It becomes your unshakable anchor in the storm, your undeniable edge, your, if you will, secret code for carving out greatness, even right there in the eye of that storm.
So if time is the enemy, what's the absolute priority? What can you not skip?
Right. When time is short, the absolute non-negotiable priority is what we call the spine of the technique. That is, the objective, the obstacle, and the substitution.
The spine. Objective, obstacle, substitution.
Those three. Look, you may not have the luxury of guiding an actor through every single step of the full, elaborate process outlined in, say, quieter settings. And that's okay. It's realistic. You simply won't have time for all 12 steps in 5 minutes.
Right.
But what is never negotiable, what you can absolutely never skip, no matter how intense the pressure, is this core spine.
Why is it the spine? What makes it so foundational?
Because the spine is the very foundation that keeps the performance standing upright when all the surface details, maybe slightly off lines, imperfect blocking threaten to crumble around it. It's what grounds the actor. It gives them their unwavering truth, their anchor, even amidst total chaos. Without that spine, the performance risks collapsing. It can become just intellectualized mimicry, maybe hitting the marks but feeling hollow. But with it, the actor breathes. They strive. They live the scene, genuinely.
That's a really powerful declaration. Never negotiable. It underscores that need to get straight to the core, the absolute must-haves, because that's what's going to withstand the pressure. Can you elaborate a bit more on why these three specific elements, objective, obstacle, substitution, why are they so potent, so vital, especially when you are, as you said, under the gun, maybe you only have moments to communicate?
They are potent because they are the essential heartbeat of any powerful performance. They aren't just ideas, they are the engine. Let's break each one down, specifically thinking about how a director applies them in a high-pressure, fast-moving scenario.
Okay, let's start with objective.
First, the objective. This is crucial. It must be grasped by the actor viscerally, deep in their gut, not intellectually understood, but felt.
Not just what the character wants.
No, much deeper. It needs to be a craving so intense it feels like the very air they breathe, something they would metaphorically kill or die for. As the director, your instruction needs to be immediate and clear. You make it personal, you make it urgent.
So instead of asking about motivation...
Forget motivation. Instead, ask questions like, what does your character need so desperately right now in this moment that it feels like life or death? Or what would they sacrifice? What would they destroy to get it? Even what is the most selfish primal urge driving them right now?
You're bypassing the analytical part.
Completely. You are not looking for a detailed psychological profile. You're seeking that core, non-negotiable hunger that bypasses the brain entirely and screams from the gut. This short-circuits intellectualizing. It taps into immediate, desperate drive.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Let's say a character needs to convince a parent to lend them money. The stated want is money, but the real visceral objective might be survival. I need this money, or my entire life falls apart. Or maybe it's validation. I need them to finally believe in me. It's not just about the cash. It's about the fundamental need beneath it. That's what you need to ignite.
Got it. Primal urgent need. So what about the obstacle?
Okay, next, you swiftly move to the obstacle. This is the formidable force standing directly in the path of that urgent objective. It's what makes the fight necessary.
And this can be different things.
Absolutely. The obstacle can be external circumstances. Think a sudden power outage during a crucial conversation, a locked door when escaping, a literal ticking time bomb. Very clear physical blocks.
Or it could be another person.
Exactly. Often it's a complex relationship dynamic with another character. The other person's stubbornness, their judgment, their power over your character, their refusal to give what's needed.
And sometimes it's internal.
Critically, yes. It can be the character's own self-sabotage. An internal block like crippling fear, deep-seated shame, or a self-defeating belief that they don't deserve to win. These internal obstacles can be incredibly powerful.
So what's a key insight here for the director regarding the obstacle?
Here's the crucial insight. The more formidable, the more terrifying, the more seemingly insurmountable that obstacle feels to the actor, the more fiercely their character must fight to overcome it.
So a bigger obstacle forces a bigger fight.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And consequently, the more compelling, the more alive, the more powerful the performance becomes. The struggle against the obstacle creates the drama. It creates the truth we feel. A weak obstacle leads to a weak fight, a boring scene.
Makes sense. If the parent in the earlier example just says, maybe, it's less intense than if they say, absolutely not, and you're a failure.
Exactly. The sharp, formidable resistance is what ignites the actor's need to overcome.
Okay, objective, obstacle. That brings us to substitution. This sounds like where it gets really personal.
It is. Substitution is the transformative moment. This is where the actor transcends mere pretense, mere indicating of emotion, and truly begins to relive some. You, the director, must guide them quickly to anchor the character's driving need in something profoundly real from the actor's own life history.
Their personal experience.
Their personal emotional experience. This could be a betrayal that still stings years later. A love they never truly got back that haunts them. A wound, an injustice, a loss that continues to bleed inside them, even subtly.
Does it need to be some huge trauma?
Not necessarily huge, but it needs to be real and unresolved for them. Even a single, vivid, unresolved memory. Maybe a moment of profound humiliation or fierce protectiveness can significantly elevate the emotional stakes. It injects a crystalline clarity into their objective because now it's fueled by their own fire.
So it doesn't need to be complex, just honest.
It simply needs to be honest. Understand this, directors. This is key. Substitution is the direct shortcut to truth. And truth always, always is the swiftest path to power on screen.
Why is it a shortcut?
Because it bypasses the need to intellectually construct an emotion. Instead, the actor taps into an emotion they already know viscerally. It's what makes the performance resonate so deeply with an audience because it originates from a place of genuine, undeniable human experience. It's the crucial difference between an actor thinking about feeling anger and actually feeling the acid of a remembered betrayal rise in their gut. They form that essential heartbeat, that powerful engine, even when every other aspect of the production is rushed, stripped down, chaotic. If these three elements are alive and pulsating within the actor, the scene will inevitably breathe with intense intention. It has to.
So in those rushed moments, these are the lifeline.
They are your lifeline. When you are short on time, these three steps provide a direct, immediate shortcut to emotional truth. They bypass the intellectual overthinking entirely and land straight in the gut. They are not optional steps if you have time. They are your emergency kit, your blueprint, your absolute lifeline when adrift in the chaos.
The engine metaphor feels really apt. Without it, nothing moves.
Exactly. Think of it. A high-performance machine looks great, maybe, but without that powerful engine roaring with purpose, the car goes absolutely nowhere. It's just a shell. But with that engine alive, the objective urgent, the obstacle formidable, the substitution personal and real, you can drive straight into the very heart of a scene and make it live.
And the actor doesn't have to act anymore.
They no longer need to consciously act. They simply need to pursue their goal and survive the obstacle. Everything else, the precise tone that feels right, the natural rhythm of the dialogue, even the physical blocking, often will tend to fall into place through pure instinct, not through laborious planning or hitting predetermined marks.
So it liberates them.
It liberates the actor profoundly. It allows them to trust their gut impulses because the foundational emotional architecture is already firmly constructed and firing. They aren't flying blind. They're flying directly into the fire, but with a clear and compelling mission rooted in truth.
Even with just 5 minutes, one take.
Even then, especially then, if these three elements are alive, truly alive, the work will powerfully punch through the screen. So my advice is, don't obsess over superficial perfection in those moments. Focus relentlessly on making sure the spine, objective, obstacle, substitution is real, is vibrating. The rest will naturally follow.
That distinction between acting and fighting to win is incredibly powerful. It really sticks. It makes me think about how directors can practically guide an actor to that fight, especially when time is just vanishing. We've established the spine is crucial, but how do you translate those core concepts into immediate actionable steps right there on set, particularly for an actor who might be overwhelmed, maybe underprepared, maybe just frozen by the pressure?
Right. Beyond ensuring the spine is alive, even in these incredibly fast environments, you must use practical, immediate tools to channel that energy. And crucially, do not waste precious seconds micromanaging line readings.
Get away from the words.
For a moment, yes. The goal isn't flawless word delivery right now. The primary goal is to ignite that emotional engine within the actor. So instead of line notes, you construct a rapid scene map. Think of it as a skeletal framework. It's designed to keep the actor laser focused on action, on doing, not on intellectual analysis or backstory. Its purpose is simply to provide them with a straightforward battle plan that mirrors the character's profound desperation to win. It gives them points to hit physically and emotionally. You, as the director, guide the actor quickly to identify 3 critical points within this rapid scene map. First, their initial tactic. What is the active choice they make? The specific action they take to get what they desperately want, fueled by their objective. Emphasize this. It must be an action, a verb, not a passive thought, not a general emotion like sad or angry. It's the first move in their desperate play. They're trying to charm, to threaten, to beg, to manipulate, to reason, simply demand. This initial choice tells them how they are actively going after their objective. So if your character is trying to get that money from the parent, their first tactic might be to charm them, or maybe to appeal to their sympathy. Clear action.
Okay, initial tactic. What's the second point?
Second, you pinpoint when that tactic fails. This is crucial. You need to identify the exact moment or the specific response from the other character or situation where their initial approach just crumbles, stops working, or encounters an insurmountable block the obstacle in action.
The moment of resistance.
Exactly. This is the turning point of frustration or defeat, or perhaps increased desperation for the character. It's where the initial strategy hits that wall and the actor needs to feel that resistance, that failure. For instance, the charm tactic might fail the instant the parent rolls their eyes dismissively, or when they simply say, "No, not this time." That's the failure point.
Got it. Initial tactic fails. What's the third point?
And third, you identify the pivot. How does the character then shift gears? How do they adjust their strategy and approach their objective from a new angle? Possibly a more desperate one, maybe a completely different approach.
So how they adapt.
Exactly. This reveals their adaptability, their resilience, their relentless pursuit of the goal. It's where the fight often escalates or changes shape. If charm failed, perhaps the pivot is to accuse or to threaten exposure, or maybe to break down and beg more desperately. The pivot shows they're still fighting, just differently.
So this map isn't about complex beats.
Not at all. It's not about intellectualizing complex subtext or spending ages analyzing the scene's progression on paper. It's about providing the actor with a visceral, immediate understanding of their character's struggle right now and their dynamic, instinctual response to the adversity they face. It's a rapid framework for purposeful, immediate behavior.
Almost like giving them simple stage directions for their internal fight.
That's a good way to put it. It's their battle plan, laid out simply and powerfully. You might literally say to the actor, okay, your first move is to plead tactic. When that fails, right when they shut you down failure point, your pivot is to try and shame them. Pivot tactic. This gives the actor clear, immediate actions to pursue, driven by the objective and fueled by the substitution.
Okay, so once that mini-map is clear, that skeletal battle plan is established, how do you get that blueprint off the page or out of their head and into the actor's body? Especially when, as we've established, rehearsal time might be virtually non-existent. It sounds like you need to bypass the brain again and go straight to instinct, to the physical manifestation of that fight.
Precisely. You absolutely must get it physical immediately. Once that mini-scene map is clear and you, the director, have ensured the actor grasps it viscerally, not just intellectually, you immediately get the actor on their feet, get them moving, physically engaged.
No sitting around talking about it.
No time for that. Your rehearsal in these time crunch scenarios focuses specifically on those two critical transitions you just identified on the map. The moment of moving from their initial tactic to its failure, and then the moment of shifting from that failure to their new pivot tactic.
So you rehearse the shifts.
Yes. We call this the 2-beat rehearsal. Just focusing on those 2 beats, the failure and the pivot. The profound power of this lies in its physicality. You are allowing the actor to physically embody and feel the shift in their bodies and their posture and their energy, not merely comprehend it intellectually in their minds.
Can you walk through an example of that?
Sure. Let's use the parent money scenario again. Initial tactic. Charm. Pivot. Accuse. You might have the actor physically walk into the space, embodying charm, maybe an open posture, a smile, light energy. Then you give them the failure cue, maybe you, as the director, just say, no, it's not working. And you watch for the physical response. Do they stop, sag? Does their energy falter? That's the failure beat, physically felt.
And then the pivot.
And then immediately after they feel that failure, you push them into the pivot. Okay, now accuse. And you see how their body shifts. Do they lean in aggressively? Does their voice change? Do they clench their fists? They are physically experiencing the transition from charm failing to accusation taking over.
So it's quick, tactile.
Very quick, very tactile. This immediate physical engagement locks in the stakes of the scene and the character's strategy far more effectively than talking about it. And it does it without burdening them with excessive notes, abstract theories, or prolonged discussion, which you don't have time for. It is kinetic. It's alive.
Yeah.
And it compels actors to engage instinctively, not academically. They feel the change. They don't just think about it.
And what's the director's role during this quick physical rehearsal? What's the key instruction?
Most importantly, during this process, you empower them. You explicitly grant them the freedom to stumble, to discover it, to maybe even fall headfirst into the raw, messy, emotional truth of that shift.
Permission to be messy.
Crucial permission. And critically, you never ask them to perform the shift. Never say, show me the transition. Instead, you invite them to fight through it. You might say, go to war for what you want with that first tactic. Now feel it fail. Okay, now fight differently, pivot. Don't perform, fight. Or don't try to act desperate when you pivot. Actually fight to get what you need when they deny you. This subtle but critical shift in language makes all the difference. It cues their deepest survival instincts, their need to win, rather than activating their desire to get it right for the director or look good on camera. It becomes about the visceral pursuit, the lived struggle, not a polished presentation of it.
It leaves me to wonder, though, about the director's own impulse in these fast-paced settings. There's often this urge, maybe even a deeply ingrained habit from training or experience, to make things look finished, clean, polished. But you seem to be advocating for something quite different, almost counterintuitive to that professional impulse for tidiness.
Absolutely. And directors, I must give you a stern, clear warning here. Be aware of the seductive trap that exists in these fast environments. The urge to polish. the impulse to quickly clean things up, to make the work appear presentable, technically flawless, smooth around the edges.
Why is that a trap? Isn't presentable good?
It might seem good, but this impulse is often a grave error in the pursuit of truth. Because presentable, in this context, is quite simply forgettable, lifeless.
Forgettable.
Yes. Think about it. When you hastily smooth something over, when you rush to apply a superficial sheen just to make it look neat or technically correct, you risk sanding away the very things that make it powerful. You risk removing the raw, jagged, uniquely human edges, the hesitations, the cracks in the voice, the awkward movements born of genuine struggle. These seeming imperfections are precisely what make a performance unforgettable, because they signal authenticity.
So smoothing it over kills the life in it.
It risks killing the life. You might achieve something tidy, perhaps, something aesthetically pleasing on a purely superficial level. But beneath that polish, it's often utterly dead. It lacks the pulse, the vital spark of genuine, lived experience. Think of those performances you've seen. Maybe technically perfect, actor hits every mark, delivers every line flawlessly, but you feel absolutely nothing.
Yeah, technically brilliant, but cold.
Exactly. That's often polish without purpose. Polish prioritized over truth.
So what's the alternative then, if time only allows for the raw version?
Then, by all means, let it be raw. If all the time allows for is raw, embrace the raw. Let it be bloody, if necessary, messy, unfinished even. Because this is precisely where true life resides. This is where truth breathes, untamed and uncompromising.
Don't stifle it for neatness.
Do not, under any circumstances, extinguish that vital spark, that visceral urgency you've worked to ignite with the spine and the map, just for the sake of superficial perfection or tidiness. Understand this profound truth. Really let it sink in, because it's one of the pillars of powerful directing under pressure. Perfection does not move people. Purpose does. It is the raw human fight for something essential against a real obstacle fueled by real feeling that resonates with an audience, not a flawless, sterile execution. When an actor truly pursues their objective against that formidable obstacle powered by a deep personal substitution, the audience feels that struggle directly, empathically. That connection is born from the rawness, the vulnerability, the fight, not from an overly rehearsed, sanitized, perfect performance. Trust the raw truth.
So if the focus shifts firmly to this raw, vital truth, rather than striving for that potentially liceless polish, how does a director effectively leverage that? Particularly in those really challenging high-pressure scenarios like a quick audition or a demanding one-day shoot where you barely have time to breathe, let alone polish. What does directing truly look like in those crucial moments when every second counts and the environment might be, frankly, far from ideal?
It looks different. It looks leaner, more focused. Remember, actors who are operating with a deeply grounded objective, a truly formidable obstacle, and a genuine living substitution require surprisingly little else from you in terms of complex direction.
They don't need layers of notes.
They absolutely do not need layers of complex direction, nor do they need hours or even minutes of detailed notes on nuance or subtext. In fact, in these high-pressure moments, too much intellectual chatter from you, the director, can actually derail the very instinct, the very raw energy you're trying to unleash. It pulls them back into their heads.
So what do they need from the director then?
What they truly need, fundamentally, boils down to one thing: your explicit permission. Your permission to go to war for what their character needs in that scene.
Permission to fight.
That is the greatest, most effective gift you can give them in a time-crunched environment. The explicit license to fight for survival within the scene circumstances, to go all out for their objective.
Can you paint a picture of that in an audition?
Absolutely. Imagine an audition. You have maybe 2 minutes, 5 if you're lucky. You quickly establish the spine. Okay, your objective is this: make it primal. The obstacle is that make it tough. Connect it to this feeling from your life, substitution trigger. Then, crucially, you say something like, look, don't worry about getting it right. Don't worry about hitting every word perfectly. Just come in here and fight for this. Whatever comes out, whatever you have to do to try and get what you want from them, just do it. I'm here to see your fight. I'm here to support your fight.
You're setting them free from the pressure of perfection.
You're setting them free to pursue truth, not perfection. And believe me, when that primal fight erupts, when they are genuinely striving to win, when their objective feels like air and their obstacle feels like a concrete wall and it's fueled by that personal substitution, everything else truly does become secondary.
Things like blocking, line delivery.
The precise blocking you might have sketched out, less important now. The flawless line delivery, less important. The subtle technical nuances you might explore with more time, less important. Even rhythm, tone, these elements will naturally, organically emerge from the fight itself, often in surprising and much more interesting ways than you could have planned.
And the audience responds to the fight, not the polish.
I absolutely promise you this. The audience, whether it's the casting director in the room or the viewer in the cinema, will not remember if a single line was slightly flubbed. They won't remember if a movement was a bit awkward or if the lighting wasn't perfectly flattering in that moment. They just won't.
What will they remember?
What they will remember, what will embed itself into their very core, into their memory, is the raw hunger they saw burning in the actor's eyes. They will remember the desperation catching in their breath. They will remember the genuine, heartbreaking crack in their voice when that crucial need went unmet, despite the struggle. They will remember the sheer emotional fire that leaped off the screen or filled the small audition room and seared itself directly into their own lives, their own empathy.
That's the connection.
That is what lives. That is what stays with people long after the credits roll. That is what true impactful art is made of. It's not born from flawless mechanics. It's forged in the fire of undeniable, messy, resonant humanity. Trust that fire.
That's a truly liberating perspective for directors, I think. Shifting that intense focus from nailing the perfect execution to igniting that undeniable impact.
It makes me think, though, about those absolute extreme moments. You know, let's say you literally have 5 minutes before they call action, or maybe an actor arrives on set completely unmoored, unfocused. What's the absolute fastest, most direct, most effective way to ignite that kind of raw, purposeful performance? What is the core question, the emergency button a director pushes in that crucible?
Right. When you are truly, truly fighting against the clock, with only moments, literally moments to spare before the camera has to roll, you need a direct, almost surgical line into the actor's truth. You need to bypass everything else. Call this emergency tool the provocation.
The provocation.
Yes. Think of it as the actor's compass in the storm, a true north that bypasses all intellectual analysis, all scene mapping, all technique discussion, and lands squarely immediately in their gut. Its sole purpose is to guide them directly, instantly, to the two most vital, visceral elements of their character's fight, igniting their core in an instant. 2 elements. What's the first?
The first question you must ask, and you ask it relentlessly, with clear, steady, focused intensity, is this. What is the deepest, most instinctive tactic you personally would fight with in this moment?
Not the character's tactic, but the actor's.
We're tapping into the actor's primal wiring here for speed and authenticity. I'm not talking about the safe choice, the predictable choice, or the clever acting choice. I am demanding the tactic that springs from their deepest gut, the one they have employed in their own life when faced with a desperate fight for survival, when everything was truly on the line for them personally.
Your go-to survival tool.
Exactly. What tool do they instinctively grab when they feel like they are drowning emotionally? When all other more civilized options are exhausted? Is it aggression, seduction, pleading, intimidation, withdrawal? That their personal, ingrained, gut-level tactic is the authentic, raw tool that will cut through all the noise and hesitation right now.
How would you phrase that to the actor?
You might ask, very directly, when you desperately need something from someone who's blocking you, what's the most primal thing you instinctively do? Do you lash out? Do you charm harder? Do you shut down? Do you try to make them feel guilty? What's your gut reaction? This question instantly activates their inherent hunger to win by connecting the character's situation directly to their own personal well of visceral lived experience. It makes the tactic immediate and real.
Okay, that's the first provocation. The gut tactic. What's the second?
Then, with equal urgency, you must demand of them the second, equally crucial question. What profound loss are you desperately trying to recover from or prevent in this scene?
Profound loss. Why loss?
Because loss, or the fear of devastating loss, is one of the most powerful, universal human motivators. Here you push them. Push them to bypass mere disappointment or a general sense of sadness or frustration. You force them, gently but firmly, to dig deeper, to plunge, just for a moment, into the feeling of a true fracture, a betrayal, an abandonment, a rejection, the kind of wound that still echoes within them when they are quiet, when they are alone with their thoughts.
So you're connecting the scene's stakes to a real deep feeling of loss for the actor.
Precisely. This isn't about dredging up personal trauma carelessly or making them relive horrible events. Absolutely not. It's about identifying the feeling state of a profound, unresolved loss. The sting of it, the ache of it, the desperation it creates that can then fuel the character's fight in the scene right now. That feeling, my friends, is their immediate fuel. That is their blood, emotionally speaking.
And that's the shortcut to truth again.
This direct engagement with the feeling of their deepest wounds is the absolute shortcut to truth in these emergency moments. Because, as we've said, truth is always the fastest conduit to power on screen. And critically, this provocation directly informs and ignites their substitution. It makes the substitution immediate and profoundly personal without needing a long discussion about which specific memory to use. You're tapping the raw emotion of loss itself.
So if their character is fighting for acceptance,
you might provoke them with, what deep rejection, what feeling of not being good enough from your own life fuels this fight for acceptance right now? You connect the character's need directly to the actor's known feeling state of loss or rejection.
So these two provocations, gut tactic and profound loss, act as a compass.
Exactly. The provocation acts as the actor's emergency compass, providing them with their true north when lost in the storm of pressure. Even in those insane moments when you don't have the luxury of providing a complete scene map or a 2-beat rehearsal, you give them this absolute essence. Aim yourself fiercely toward what you want, objective implied using your most primal tool gut tactic, and fight like hell, fueled by the feeling of reclaiming or preventing something you desperately don't want to lose.
And that's enough.
That fundamentally is acting with profound purpose. It strips away everything else and gets to the core fight. That is acting that truly endures. It's what will burn through the screen, searing itself into the audience's memory, even if it came together in seconds.
The idea of purpose over perfection, and then these very specific, almost surgical provocations to get there quickly, that really clarifies the path for directors in those tough spots. But for a director watching the actor, maybe through the monitor, or right there in the room, how do you know when that truth has actually been ignited? What are the tangible signs that tells that an actor isn't just acting anymore, but is truly living and fighting within the scene, even if it's messy or imperfect? What tells you definitively, okay, it's alive now?
That's a critical question. It's about diagnosis, isn't it? About discerning true lived performance from mere mimicry or indication, especially when you've used these rapid techniques. And the good news is when the spine, that core of objective, obstacle, and substitution, is truly alive and firing within the actor, fueled perhaps by that provocation, you will see it and you will hear it. There are tangible manifestations, proofs that the actor is not merely performing the scene, but genuinely surviving it moment by moment.
What kind of proofs? What should a director look for?
You'll often hear it first. A spontaneous, unforced crack in the voice. Not one that's put on for effect, not a calculated vocal trick, but a genuine catch or break that comes from the pressure of the internal struggle.
An involuntary sign.
Exactly. Involuntary is key. You'll see it in the eyes. A subtle, perhaps fleeting, but undeniable shift. A flicker of genuine desperation or raw determination or sudden vulnerability that wasn't there a moment before. Something behind the eyes changes.
Beyond just focus.
Beyond just focus. It's a change in the quality of their gaze. You might also witness the power of silence. Not just a pause where they're waiting for their next line, but a silence that feels dangerous. Fraught with tension, loaded with all the unsaid needs, the history, the weight of their internal struggle against the obstacle. It's a silence that speaks volumes rather than an empty pause.
Physical signs, too.
Oh, absolutely. You might see a spontaneous physical gesture, a hand tremor they didn't plan, a sudden need to brace themselves, a flinch, a unique way of holding tension in their body that wasn't rehearsed or blocked but emerges organically, directly from the fight they're experiencing internally. Even unique vocalizations, a sharp intake of breath, a sigh that carries immense weight, a stammer on a crucial word. These can be signs it's alive.
So it's about these organic, spontaneous reactions.
Yes, these are the reactions that bloom naturally when the actor is authentically engaged in the fight, when instinct begins to override conscious control because the stakes are so high and so personal. Remember, when the objective is truly urgent, the obstacle genuinely formidable, and the substitution profoundly personal and alive, the actor doesn't have to try so hard to act. They simply need to pursue their goal and survive the experience. Instinct takes over.
And that's what punches through.
And that work, even if achieved with minimal time or under immense pressure, even if delivered in just one take, powerfully punches through the screen. You, the director, will feel it in the room. There's an energy shift. The crew often feels it too. And most importantly, the audience will feel it when they watch the film. It's undeniable.
So trust your gut as a director.
Trust your gut. It's the difference between watching someone put on a performance, however skillfully, and watching someone truly live a moment, fight for something essential, between seeing technical proficiency and experiencing undeniable human truth. If you feel that shift, that spark of life, even amidst the messiness, trust it. It's alive.
This entire session has been incredibly insightful. It feels like we've really peeled back the layers on how to achieve these profound, truthful performances precisely because of the challenging circumstances on a film set, not in spite of them. It's become so clear that time pressure, the chaos, doesn't necessarily diminish the power of this approach. In fact, it seems to sharpen it, making it even more essential.
Precisely. That's the core takeaway. Time pressure does not weaken the technique. It reveals its undeniable edge, its necessity. It was forged, as we said, for the war zones of filmmaking. In those moments, it becomes your essential weapon, your unshakable anchor. And yes, your secret code for carving out moments of authentic greatness, even when the entire environment seems designed to prevent it.
So the foundation holds.
The central tenet remains absolutely immutable. If the spine, that vital trio of objective, obstacle, and substitution, is truly alive, truly pulsating within the actor, the performance lives. It breathes, it fights, it resonates. Everything else is secondary when truth is present.
And so the distilled truth, the final thought we want to leave you with today as you navigate the intense, often chaotic, yet incredibly rewarding world of film directing, is this. Directing under pressure isn't really a matter of compromise, is it? It's more like a war. And the Chubbuck technique offers you your most essential weapon in that war.
Remember this wisdom. Carry it with you onto every set, into every audition room, into every moment you face the crucible of your craft. Chaos doesn't kill truth, it carves it sharper.
A powerful truth to carry forward into your next project, your next scene, every single interaction with your actors. Thank you so much for investing your time with us today, for really digging into these essential tools for directing under pressure. We sincerely hope these principles empower you to find and to trust that raw, purposeful performance, especially in the most demanding environments. Go forth, directors, and create art that truly lives, art that truly endures.